confirmation page?
Let me find.
They don't have the confirmation page actually in the screenshot, so we don't know what happens after the booking.
Okay. That may be one to ask them what the confirmation page name is, especially since they called it out as one of the things they want you to look at.
Okay.
We are slowly running out of time, so please ask any questions. If not, I'll continue going through these screenshots.
Hey, Jordan, I have a question.
Sure.
Chris. So you kind of went over what SPG wants. How important, in your opinion, is it to monetize these values?
Such as like keyless entry?
Well, we talked before about, average rate per room. We were talking about conversion rate, potential dollars lost. You're saying, like, what's wrong? SPG wants to know what's wrong, what's broken. Is that important to put into potential earnings missed or dollars lost, or is that more focusing on we just want to know what's wrong?
Yeah, I would definitely think about it like you're thinking of it. I would say, okay, your conversion dropped by 0.5%. It was 5%, now it's 4.5%. If we project out your normal growth over the next year, we think that 0.5% is going to end up costing you guys $3 million or $5 million or whatever in nightly stays. I think that's once you find a problem, if you find a problem, you may not find any problems, to be honest. The fun part about, I'm going to use air quotes, the fun part about this project is that it's a little bit of a wild goose chase. They're not telling you what's broken, if anything's broken, what's working, what's not working. They're really just saying, here is a gigantic data set, go have at it and tell us what you find. And they're kind of pointing you in the right direction. But most of what they've told you guys to kind of look at and consolidate on is what I would tell anyone on my team. Hey, we've got an app release coming up next month. Make sure nothing broke. And that's as much as I would tell them. And they would go through and look at trending out a lot of stuff, looking at the rate of completion before and after. So understanding what those key tasks are. You can probably sign up for SPG, the actual loyalty program within the app. So how many people are doing that before and after a release, as opposed to of the people who start, how many people are finished. So there's the first page of their enrollment form and the last page, which is usually a confirmation page. So you put one over the other using the visits metric probably, but again, just show your math on the slide. And you'll be, kind of ahead of the game, because a lot of people may not be thinking about some of that stuff. But you could say, okay, an average enrollment within the program leads to, a 10-night stay on average, and that's, at whatever average room night. You could do that. I think that as we go through and you guys find some of that stuff, we can definitely talk about it kind of towards the end, whether the monetization makes sense or if we could tweak the monetization. But I think that's kind of it feels kind of secondary. I would spend a little bit more time, especially this week, looking more at what you can find and then monetizing and telling a story. Make sure at the end you're telling a story, that things are broken, things are not broken, things are moving in the right direction. Forecast out some growth for them based on, if we said they grew 19% in July, 20% in August, you could say, okay, year over year, we expect 20, 21% growth in September. And you could forecast out a whole year that way. But I don't think it's going to be nice and pretty and linear. The real world is messy. I'll warn you guys. The real world is very messy. And customers do things you would never, ever expect them to do. We've seen here at Southwest, for example, people start their visit, their first page. So there's the entry page report. they start their visit on the confirmation page. We have no idea how they do that, but yet they do. It probably has more to do with their session timeout than anything, but you're going to find very weird data when you start looking very closely at it.
So Jordan, really quick question. Hello?
Yeah.
Do you think it makes any sense that we talk about the pricing? Because pricing is very important in this industry, but as a small department, as a app department, do you think they can do anything about the pricing?
I know here at Southwest we have no control over the price. If we had a sale or something like that, we could say that when we decrease the price, this is what happened. I don't feel like they're going to give you guys the data you need to do that analysis. I would also say that here at Southwest, we have the data to do that kind of analysis, and we have probably 40 or 50 people looking at it on a very regular basis, and it's not easy at all. There's way too many factors that go into play. I would just look more at that average nightly rate over time. Are customers spending more? If they're spending more, are they also, depending on how the data is stored, remember it's probably not going to be stored as average nightly rate. And if it is, you also need to look at the number of room nights that they're staying to get that total revenue being booked. Because there's really two factors there that come into play. Much like with the airline, you can have a number of reservations, but within that, people can go one way or round trip, and you could have 1 people or 8 people on that same reservation. So if you're looking at reservation only, it kind of tells you what's happening. Are you getting more reservations this year or last year? But if you only look at that metric, you're making the assumption that there are no changes in the other metrics. So do understand that there is interplay between both the average nightly rate and the number of room nights on the same reservation. So how much is the customer paying? Because as the average nightly rate goes up, that customer is less likely to stay more and more days. They're likely to stay fewer days.
Hi, Jordan. I have a question about the segment. So the segment that we're asking, the first one exclude Android traffic. So that segment is the one that basically we're analyzing, and we can add segment that we create and then compare the segment we create. Am I understand it correctly?
I think so. So the segment that they created that we were looking at on the screen here earlier, that one that excluded the broken Android, it had Android as the very first thing. It's hard to see in the screenshots, but I saw it when they were doing the presentation in a different view, in the 52-minute view. In the version there, it actually showed that it was Android on top, exclude certain versions, and then they had other things at the bottom like, yes, they were a customer.
Okay. Basically in the slides here, so this one is the mobile app traffic, right?
So this is app, but again, you can't see it here, but I think that so the first thing you see here is look only at the app as opposed to their website or their mobile website. So always make sure you're looking at an app. Then they're further down, I believe, I saw it on the other presentation, it showed that this prop 2 equals Android or something like that, contains Android or... Okay,
got it.
So yeah, you see they're both prop 2, they're both the include and the exclude.
Yeah.
So in the first line, what you're seeing is an app, and then the second one is Android that would say either Apple or iOS or something like that. And then it would have SBG and then the version number. So this includes any app traffic, but excludes the bad Android traffic. So you would probably want a hit where prop 2 contains app_Android or app_iOS or whatever it is. And you could run a prop 2 report and look at all those different versions and permutations. And